Party, which is Nigeria's main opposition political party, is reported to be locked in talks with 6 others in opposition to explore the possibility of forming a coalition to challenge the stranglehold on Nigerian politics currently being wielded by the All Progressives Congress. How true is this? And how can it help to shape or redefine the country's political landscape if and when they are able to pull it off? To look closely at the possibilities, we are now being joined by Sani, who is the chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council, and Ladipo Johnson, a spokesman of New Nigeria People's Party, one of the parties reported to be taking part in the coalition talks. Good morning, gentlemen. Good to have you join us on the morning show today.
Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, Joshua. Thank you for having us.
Thank you indeed. All right, let me start with Malam Yabaji Sani. Given the fact that you're the chair of the Inter-Party Coalition, talk to us about what is in the news. The coalition of opposition parties led by the PDP in consort with about 6 other parties. What is this all about and why so soon? Is this a third force that is coming 4 clear years to the next presidential election? And how can you have a coalition without, as we are hearing, that it looks like NMPP might not be part of it, and more importantly, the Labour Party is not part of it? Tell us, what exactly do you have at hand?
Well, let me correct one thing. We are not a coalition committee. Ours is Inter-Party Advisory Council. What we do is, like the name suggests, we advise parties. We ensure that we have a very peaceful, credible, and acceptable, election in Nigeria. We also ensure that there's peace, within the parties and amongst the parties. We help to bring about consensus, among the parties. Whenever there are issues that affects, us collectively or any particular party, we interact with INEC, like other government agencies, National Assembly, in a way. To ensure that not only the electoral process is something that is fair and free and there's a level playing field, but also to ensure that we have, a very strong engagement with the institutions that, made up what we call democracy. Like in democracy, principally, you need 3 things to be there. You need very strong institutions. You need peace. You need justice. So these things cannot just happen, on their own. That's why Inter-Party Advisory Council has taken it upon itself to ensure that we mobilize, the actors in these institutions and ensure that they do things that are in the interest of the political parties and, by extension, in the interest of the electorates and Nigerians at large. So we believe that in a multi-party democracy, you definitely require some kind of coalition like what is coming out today, a constructive one for that, that matter, because it helps not only the government of the day, it helps also the nationals to be able to be heard, because the policies of the government may not sit well with the nationals. So who is going to speak, on their behalf? It has to be a credible voice, and the credible voice you have in a democracy is a political party, because they represent, the people, their creation of the constitution. So this is why we believe that the coalition that you talked about, that is developing, it's welcome. It interrogates, it's hold power to account. It helps the people to understand better, what even the government, the party in power is doing. The coalition, would scrutinize, what government is doing, and perhaps highlight areas that, because the party in government may not see them from their perspective, but the coalition parties looking at it from the outside will be able to see things differently and more directly, because and then they will be able to be courageous, in engaging the government, or the president or the governors, as the case may be, or even local government councils, chairmen that you have. So coalition, or if you like, opposition is a welcome development in all multi-party democracy, like the constitutional democracy, like what we have here. What you don't like or what you don't want to have is a destructive kind of thing. Where people come, instead of discussing issues, they are discussing personalities. And when you start discussing persons, you lose the essence, you lose the focus, you lose what exactly you are trying to achieve. So parties coming together, I think, is a welcome development, and because they also play a very, very important role, even in the transition to power. Like, if you like what happened which we are in, we are still yet to come out of it completely. The 2023 elections, if the opposition parties did not allow the process to take place, did not restrain themselves, say, okay, we will take it to the court because that is what the process provides. If they had taken laws into their hands, we wouldn't have gotten a peaceful transition, of power from Buhari, to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So opposition plays a key role, and it gives credence. It gives credence to the process itself because you have people competing. End of the day, you have had a successful election, and you have people coming out to help even the government in power that won election to settle down, to concentrate on governance, because that's what it's all about. So we give kudos to the people that participated in the process, especially these 2023 elections, and we encourage others to come out. They shouldn't shy away. And democracy is a journey. Where we are today, we have now the opportunity to see, we have gone wrong here, we could have done this one better, and then we will now keep on to improve on the process itself. Like you are aware, the National Assembly is taking a look at the Electoral Act itself. We, as political parties, we are also coming together to submit amendments to the National Assembly to ensure that the next time around, our next outing will be something that everybody will be happy about. Because even the electoral agency themselves, I'm talking about INEC, they are not happy with what happened. Because, in every situation, you have individuals within the organization who are always waiting in the wings to take advantage of any slightest opportunity. So it may not be the policy of the agency, like INEC itself. INEC, invested so much energy, time, and money because we have engagement with them quarterly. And they tell us what they are doing, how far they have gone, and I can tell you, for free, the kind of commitment and the kind of resources and the sleepless nights that INEC invested in this process, only for them to come to the point and then to have this experience that we have today. So they too are not happy. Nigerians are not happy. So what do? Take a look at the law, because from what we have seen now, with the benefit of hindsight, we have seen that it is the Electoral Act itself that is a recipe for crisis because of the obscurity of some of the clauses in that Electoral Act. So National Assembly has an opportunity to now, perfect whatever we have put in place, make sure that we don't give room for those who want to take advantage of the process to put us in a situation that we don't like, which is what we had in 2023. But thank God, we have a government at the national level, at subnational level. We have processes going on in courts, so that's democracy in action. People coming together today to challenge the party in power is a welcome development. Even the party in power, if they don't have people challenging them, how do they get it right? How do they know where they are committing some errors or mistakes? How do they know that Nigerians are happy or not happy? So it's a very, very, very much welcome development. Like I said, constructive engagement is good. Constructive opposition is good. We need it in this climate. Nigeria is such a big country that you can't just have an echo chamber in such an important exercise like governance. So definitely there should be opposition. There should be in the National Assembly, outside National Assembly, so that the electorates also will be engaged. And in our own, at IPAC, what we are doing is to go beyond that. We want to provide feedback to Nigerians. That's what IPAC is trying to do through what we call peer review mechanism. Where we are looking at what governors are doing and then exposing them to their citizens, so that citizens can see which governor is performing, which one is lagging behind. And because feedback is very important in democracy. If the nationals do not know what you are doing, you will have people saying, "Oh, this government, they're not even working or nothing is happening," things like that. In addition to that, Steve, we are 100 years, this year since the evolution of political party in Nigeria. Since when Herbert Macaulay, registered the first political party, which is NNDP, in 1923, following the Clifford Constitution of 1922. Since that time, 1923 to 2023, it's 100 years. Steve, that's not 100 days. So that's why IPAC is rolling out drums to ensure that we tell ourselves and the rest of the world that we have come of age. We are not babies as far as the democracy is concerned. The first nationalist we have, nationalist, really, is Herbert Macaulay. He came out and challenged the status quo that time, on a constitutional basis, and he registered a political party, and they won election. So, which means we have come a long way. Opposition is welcome. That it was opposition that produced that particular party, and those that won election in the Lagos House of Assembly or something like that at that time. So it's a welcome development, Steve, and we are happy that they are coming together. But let it be constructive. That's all we are saying.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Yabagi Sani, you spoke about the 100 years of political parties in Nigeria, and specifically the importance of the opposition. Do you agree with some sentiments that are saying that Nigeria is slowly moving towards a one-party state?
Well, if we do not do what is happening today, that is parties coming together to challenge the party in power for the purpose of improvement, for the purpose of ensuring that we have the multi-party system, which has been provided for in our constitution, actually in place. So I think yes, if the opposition, refuse to do anything, do not hold power to account, do not scrutinize what the government in power is doing, do not organize campaigns, do not organize meetings like the one they had, and then engage with the citizens too, speak on behalf of the voiceless, then of course you will have a one-party system. So that's why IPAC is strongly in support of a constructive opposition that will make the party in power to do better whatever they are doing, not to discuss persons and lose focus. So definitely we risk having a one-party system if the opposition becomes dormant.
All right. I hope we can hear Mr. Ladipo Johnson clearly now. Okay. All right. I believe we're still working on Mr. Johnson. So, Malam Yabagi Sani, if you can hear me, the next question will go to you too. All right. Okay. You spoke extensively about why IPAC is endorsing the sort of coalition that is happening. But a lot of people will say that, yes, there are 7 parties now with the PDP apparently leading the charge. But people will worry that what sort of coalition can come from a PDP, for example, the main opposition party, where it looks like the governors are still trying to are trying to put up a fight with the Abubakar Atiku camp after the loss of the general elections. We've heard so many things about the Bauchi state governor, trying to play an important role that might, catapult him into the leadership of the party. Other people will say that what kind of coalition can you have where you have a major PDP voice like the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, who has now graduated from cooking for the chief of staff in his house to now singing on your mandate will stand for the sitting president in the chief of staff's office. With a man like that clearly, in bed with the APC, people are saying that what kind of coalition can come out of the sort, the type that we now have with 7 parties? Do you think that this can fly at all? Malam Sani? Malam Yabagi Sani, that question was for you if you could hear me. Otherwise, if you'd like me to repeat the question.
Oh, but I'm not hearing.
Okay, so do we have Mr. Ladipo? Mr. Ladipo Johnson. All right, Mr. Ladipo Johnson.
Yes.
All right, before we return to...
Good morning.
Good morning. We do apologize for the technical issues there. First, my colleague Adesua was trying to ask you if your party, NMPP, is in coalition talks with PDP or any other party. But I would like to build on that. There's actually a letter in the public space signed by the acting national chairman of your party, Abakau Ali, stating categorically that NMPP has not met with and is not planning to meet with any coalition formation committee or people at all. Where do you stand? Where does your party, the NMPP, stand in all these coalition talks that IPAC has apparently endorsed?
Thank you very much, Steve, and good morning, Adeswa. The position of our party is that we have not been invited officially to any meeting or to any talks regarding the coalition being spoken about. However, we have always maintained that anything that brings about good governance to the people of Nigeria, we will listen to and might participate in. So as the short answer, sir, is that we haven't been approached. We were not aware of any meeting. We read of it in the press like you did. And that is why the acting national chairman sent that press release out. But as I said, we believe that the country requires strong opposition, constructive opposition, and we are open to looking at different scenarios that will help bring good governance to the people of the country.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I wanted to follow up on that because you said that the NNPP has not been officially invited, but is it possible that there have been unofficial meetings with stakeholders of the party? And also, is the party open to forming a coalition if and when you are officially invited to the table?
Yes, we haven't been, no, we haven't been officially invited. And also, I am not aware of any stakeholder, any leader of the party that has met regarding this with any party or with any set of parties. We had a national working committee meeting, and at that meeting, this issue was not raised in any way. So it is not before us. However, if we are invited, I cannot say categorically that it will be a yes on our part. Because you see, when you're coming together for a coalition, you have to make sure that you're on the same page. You don't go to bed with people that you do not know and you're not on the same page. So the natural process would be for whomsoever is trying to lead the talks to invite everyone to say, look, we want to come together as a coalition force to make sure that we constructively criticize the government in the administration at the moment, at the center or in any state. When they say that, then you now sit down and say, okay, when we're criticizing, if we want to criticize, what is your view on education? What is your view on the economy? Because you see, you might have government and government is not doing everything wrong. They might be doing things that are right. So if Party A believes that the educational policies are right and Party B believes that they're wrong, how do you oppose that at that stage? That is why I say that there is a process to this thing. You have to make sure that you're on the same page, you have the same platform. When I say platform, I'm not referring to party. I'm referring to a manifesto or a point of view or a position on various things, or at least on the major things, turning the economy around, insecurity, education, healthcare, accommodation, transportation, etc. So it's going to take a process. And I believe that when we see an offer, if we see an offer, we look at it. And as I say, if there is consensus, then you can have a working together or a relationship. It's not something you just jump at automatically once you've been offered.
Understood. But staying with you, Mr. Ladipo Johnson, before we go back to Malam Sani, one of the key things that the coalition force is using as the reason why they are forming it is that they are not satisfied with the way that the Nigerian judiciary has conducted itself in many of the rulings arising from the last general elections. Given the position of your party with the Kano State governorship election, where you have your candidate and, of course, the governor of Kano State, who is struggling to stay in office. He lost at the tribunal, he lost at the appeal in a very controversial circumstance, leading to a kind of, not very complimentary remarks about the way that the court has conducted itself. Given what this coalition is saying, that part of why they are coming together is to make sure that the judiciary is fair and just. Do you think that that could be a possible way for you to consider, if that invitation does come, would that be a reason for you to want to join, given the fact that it looks like Kano is almost slipping out of your hands?
Thank you. Well, the thing there is this. The issue of the judiciary is, yes, is front and center at the moment. But that is not the only issue on ground at the moment. We have the economy, we have various things. We have members in the National Assembly. So there are ways of lobbying other members when we talk about reforms. The chairman of IPAC was speaking earlier about working on the Electoral Act and other things. So there are ways that we're going to lobby to do these things. Now, yes, we are rather not too happy with the judiciary. That would be an understatement at the moment. But we have confidence in the fact that the Supreme Court will do that which we feel is right, and not just which we feel is right, which is right. But I'm being careful. I don't want to go too much. I don't want to fall for your traps because the matter is sub judice and, and it is in court. But be that as it may, yes, we're passionate at the moment about the fact that the system might not be doing us right. But that doesn't, one incident, one arm of it does not determine everything. You see, we must all look at this thing from a holistic point of view. And that is what we will do as a party. Besides, the Supreme Court will come in, the judgment regarding Kanu, latest has to come in, the process has to be finished, I think by the 16th of January, the amount of days you have left. By the time you're putting the coalition together, that may have gone, and positively our way anyway, by God's grace. So definitely, yes, the judiciary and what we're facing is a primary thing that we'll look at, but we must also look at a more holistic thing to see where we would be regarding partnership or coalition with various people. We're not shutting the doors, but I'm just saying I am sure it will take a thorough, rigorous process all the time, having in mind, bearing in mind the wishes and whatever of the people that we seek to represent. That's the people of Nigeria.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to go back to Malam Sani. Malam Sani, can you hear me?
Yes, I do, sure.
Good morning, sir.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Loud and clear.
Sir, thank you, sir. So I wanted to ask, do you believe that a coalition of parties is always going to help in the advancement of our democracy? As you said, we've had 100 years of parties in Nigeria. Our democracy has developed somewhat. We've had parties shift from time to time. But as Mr. Steve Arende said earlier, we see some party members jump from one party to another. Is the party structure itself a problem in terms of our democracy actually developing and advancing?
Yeah, yes, Adeshua, I believe that coalition is a necessity in a multi-party democracy like the one we are practicing. For instance, the party in power today, how did they come to be? It was through coalition. Otherwise they couldn't have been able to push PDP out of power. So coalition is it, and not only in this climate. Other countries you look at, even Liberia, where they had just election, it was through coalition that they were able to push the party in power, out of the scene. So coalition is it in multi-party democracy. So this is why at IPAC we are encouraging issue-based engagement, criticisms. We want them to criticize. In fact, the party in power also needs to be criticized, need to be held accountable to their promises, their manifestos, what they told the judges they are going to do. Oppositions normally play the role of watchdog over what the party in power is doing. It's a normal thing. The Constitution recognizes that. So this is why we believe what the group want to do is something that we can see it happening today in the party that is in power, which is APC. It's a coalition of parties that came together and then fought their way, to push PDP, out of power. So it's not strange to Nigeria, and all we're asking for is that let it be constructive, let it be issue-based. We shouldn't allow ourselves to be detracted or something like that. So because opposition is very, very important in democracy. And this is why, like I said, they give credence to the process itself. They provide an environment for smooth transition of power from one party, to the other. Because that's what happened in 2023. That's why we have a government in place today. They didn't take laws into their hands. So this coalition, we in IPAC support it. But please let us be constructive so that we will only add to the strength of democracy that we have had, like I said, party politics that we have had for almost 100 years actually today. So, and we talked about judiciary. Judiciary to me, it's not the institution to blame. Although, like I said, you need three things in democracy: strong institutions, you need peace, you need justice. So justice must be. So if we don't have justice in this democracy, it can't stand. So this is why judiciary is very, very important, and judiciary must understand their role, fundamental role in ensuring that our democracy survives, because they hold the key to the survival of this democracy. That's why when you talk about judiciary, we believe that it's something that is very important, and we must at all times try to see how we engage the judiciary so that they live up to the expectations of Nigerians.
Thank you.
So I know we're on track as far as democracy is concerned in Nigeria. We are making progress.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much to Malam Yabagi Sani, and thank you so much, Mr. Ladipo Johnson.